Hello there. The parties in Northern Ireland cannot find a consensus, and the deadline for forming a government has passed. All signs now point to new elections, and the stalemate could affect the UK government's EU policy as well. It was indeed the last chance. On Thursday, the elected members of the Northern Irish Parliament sat together again to elect a Speaker of Parliament. But the pro British Democratic Unionist Party, the DUP, refused to approve. And this makes it clear the 6 month period for forming a new government has expired. DUP leader Geoffrey Donaldson justified his party's policy of not nominating ministers for a joint government as follows. We said during the election campaign that we would not nominate anyone until border checks between Great Britain and Northern Ireland are lifted. DUP demands the end of the Northern Ireland Protocol. The borders in their own country in the UK must be lifted. The DUP has been putting the government in London under pressure for months and is demanding that the Northern Ireland Protocol be revoked. This pressure only works because the five strongest parties in Northern Ireland have to form a government together. This is what the 1998 peace agreement envisages. All sections of the population should be represented in the government. Actually, a mechanism to secure the peace, but because no government has been formed for months, many necessary decisions have been left undone. Michelle O'Neill, leader of the Sinn Féin parliamentary group in the Northern Irish Parliament, criticised the DUP, and rightly so. People went to work and wanted politicians to do the same. Most also came to do the job for which they were elected. Sinn Féin emerges as the strongest force in the main elections. And the party does have a Catholic background and is committed to merging with the Republic of Ireland. Previously, the DUP was the strongest force, wanting to keep union with Britain. Naomi Long, leader of the Alliance Party, has already said she's not afraid of campaigning. The Alliance Party is committed to breaking down sectarian lines in Northern Ireland. In May, the party achieved quite good results, others say even very good results. The political situation in Northern Ireland is putting pressure on the British government as well. Former Prime Minister Liz Truss stood for a tough course in negotiations with the European Union. The new Prime Minister Rishi Sunak could act more cautiously at this point in order to avoid a trade war with the EU, but he already promised the ERG where he would go if necessary. But a trade war would also harm Britain very much, and the United Kingdom is at the beginning of a recession. An example shows how badly the political stalemate affects the people in Northern Ireland. In the parts of England, Wales, and Scotland, it has long been regulated how people can get help with £400 due to high energy prices. The corresponding decisions are pending in Northern Ireland, and the money cannot be paid out, so the DUP is harming a lot of people there. And between war, inflation, and the energy crisis, the dispute between the Northern Irish parties seems niggly from a Brussels as well as from a London perspective. In vain have the Johnson, Truss, and Sunak governments urged their perceived unionist DUP allies to form a government with the nationalist Sinn Féin under the terms of the Good Friday Agreement, confident that London will resolve the issue of the Brexit-created sea border between the north of the Emerald Isle and Great Britain, whether with Brussels or against Brussels. But from a Belfast point of view, the border issue is not irrelevant. The DUP complains that goods from the mother country are missing or have become more expensive. But they are silent about the economic and political consequences that would ensue if the de facto external border of the EU internal market were to split up the Emerald Isle instead. The only way out of this dilemma would be to tie the kingdom more closely to the European internal market or the EU internal market. However, this is not getting any closer with the new elections that the DUP is now enforcing with its intransigence. Would an even weaker result than in May motivate them to be more flexible? Well, no, that's unlikely. The strengthening of both the nationalist Sinn Féin and the competition in their own unionist camp are pushing the practiced agitators quite into a corner. They should talk to Boris about this. You know how that feels. After the failure to form a government in Northern Ireland, the British government in London is threatening the members of the regional parliament now with a cut in their salaries. At a time when so many people are struggling with the cost of living and fearful of what is to come, I understand people's frustration that MPs continue to be paid a full salary despite not doing all the duties for who they were elected to. That was said by UK Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, Chris Heaton-Harris. And finally, I do agree with him. Doesn't happen that often. The Conservative politician pointed out that no government was in office anymore. It means no ministers are providing the public services you rely on, he said. Nobody can take care of the financing of hospitals, schools, doctors, and nursing staff. In the absence of an executive branch, I will therefore take limited but necessary steps to protect public finances and the delivery of public services, Heaton-Harris said. He had already consulted with the highest official in the part of the country. The minister announced on Thursday, that he would call a general election in Northern Ireland. He would like to present a more precise schedule in the coming week. No, it was Friday. A deadline for the formation of a unity government expired on Friday night without a result. And therefore, London must schedule a new election. The main unionist party, the DUP, which advocates union with Great Britain, is still under really weird... forget that one. They are blocking everything just for their own purposes. You see that sometimes I'm missing the words that are appropriate for YouTube to describe the don't understand politics or democratics, not with us party. Seriously, I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.